Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
I love Dan Patrick. Oh, my God.
Home to the biggest guests and best sports talk on radio.
I love it. One of my favorites.
Normally, home to Dan Patrick.
Hope you'll miss us.
But today, Dan and the Danettes are off.
Don't see another radio show behind my back, please.
And filling in, it's Steve COVINO and Rich Davis.
There we go. It's good.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is the Dan Patrick Show.
How you doing, buddy?
Stretching it out, man. Oh. I'm not exactly Mr. Sunshine in the morning like Rich Davis here. Skipping to his loo all the way to the microphone. Good morning. COVINO and Rich in for Dan Patrick. Day 2 of the Dan Slam. Again, live from the Mercedes-Benz Studios. Hour brought to you by TireRack.com, the official tire expert and retailer of the Dan Patrick Show. Go to TireRack.com/Dan and try the Tire Decision Guide. See the full line of Firestone tires, Roy Firestone style.
Firestone.
Special offers, free road hazard protection, and mobile tire installation. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. I'm COVINO out here on the west side. We got a packed studio. We got the greatest team and the premier sports lineup in the nation. Joel and Danny G. We got Wire on the updates here in L.A. and Spotty Boy on the videos. You can play along at home at COVINO and Rich, and Dickie Doodle Davis is out there in Texas. Remember the last time you were in Texas? Remember the last time? Actually, it was years ago. There's a funny story just to tell you about the type of guy Rich is. And I say this respectfully. Rich Davis is such a hyped-up, jittery guy that some old Texas woman called the police on Rich because he was pacing around a parking lot on the phone. And she was like, 911, there's a crazy man in the parking lot. I'm just reporting this crazy maniac. Really, he's just got this East Coast energy about him, and he just stands out like a sore thumb.
Just a wacko old lady that couldn't take my, enthusiasm, I guess. I'm on the phone, just, you order food.
Yeah.
I'm standing in the parking lot making a phone call, and, this woman's like, I think he's stalking out the place.
I think he's on the drugs or something. But, hey, Rich is a really hyper dude. We live out here in L.A. We're from the East Coast. Always happy to be in for the Dan Patrick Show. 877-99 on Fox if you want to get involved today, or hit us at COVINO and Rich to see our stupid faces or to chime in. And we have lots to get to. We're giving away prizes today. Iron Mike Trivia. Iron Mike stops by, and we do multiple choice trivia. We give away Swiggies, which are like the now version of the Stanley Cup that people were freaking out about a few months back. Not hockey-related, Rich. They're just stainless steel water bottles, but they're good-looking water bottles. They're a shiny, nice, blue, metallic CNR on FSR water bottle. You could win one by leaving a review when you follow our podcast or play Iron Mike Trivia later today. We're going to talk Aaron Rodgers, Yadier Molina, maybe some firework action, but we got to talk Jayson Tatum, brah.
I mean, largest contract in NBA history, following, obviously, a title for the Lakers. I mean, I guess that's when you get it, right? When you win the NBA title, you're the guy that's like, I want the money. That's also when you try to sell your team, right?
You got to sell your team. Yeah, you got to strike while the iron's hot. Wick Rossback is selling the team. They say it's worth $5.1 billion, the fourth highest in the NBA. He'll probably get a lot more than that because, again, they just won. They signed some superstars. But, again, Jaylen Brown, your NBA Finals MVP, last year signed for a $304 million extension. Jayson Tatum got the Supermax deal, the largest in NBA history, 5-year, $314 million deal. And, a lot of moves are being made this week, and you got to say, whoa, all right. NBA looks different every year, but some big names, Klay Thompson, obviously, to the Mavs, Chris Paul to the Spurs, Jayson Tatum re-signing again with the Celtics, and it's insane the type of money these guys are getting, but, again, you just said it. They just won. You got negotiating power. I look at that from a personal standpoint of when our contract is up, when anyone's contract is up, or when they're fighting for their job? What could they do to really seal that deal and make it sweet?
It's what everyone thinks.
Personally, I'm saying in about 2 years, Rich, you better start bringing the heat. You better come out with something controversial where Fox has to sign CNR for a sweet 3-year extension.
The Supermax deal?
You got it. Yeah, you got to get a radio Supermax deal, but you got to raise your profile. I think there's something to be said about that. For as corny as Jayson Tatum may appear, right, on social media with his quotes and the things he says and how contrived he appears to be with his statements after winning, like he gets a lot of heat on social media. The dude still wins, and the dude still produces, so none of that matters. And he's coming off a winning season.
Do you think Jayson Tatum cares that people make fun of him hugging the NBA title,
Not at
the
all.
trophy? Do you think people care about people saying he's corny?
But he has eyes and ears, and he's a young man with a phone in his hand, and he's on social media, so he sees it. But at the beginning, middle, and end of the day, he gets the last laugh with this super fat contract. So props to him.
Supermax.
Yeah.
Supermax. You know, I look at the numbers, and I really do feel like our grandparents would lose their mind at these numbers. Do you remember the stuff that would like make your grandparents get mad? Hey, yeah, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, and they would always complain about money or things in society. Like Danny G, before the show, you were saying that was it Dave Winfield, Danny G, that you're that you remember signing that $1 million deal and your family got all mad?
Yeah, when Dave Winfield made history with that big $1 million contract when we were little kids, I remember my grandmother cursing.
And think about this. Yeah, because our grandparents were all racist, probably. That was probably part of it.
That wasn't it. She's like, they're playing a kid's game. You're going to make them millionaires?
No, but
they grew up at a time when guys like Yogi Berra and Whitey Ford worked at a car wash in the offseason. So to them, baseball and basketball, it was a sport. They got paid handsomely.
And by the way, that's no joke. A lot of
yeah.
those players, you look them up. I mean, they were fighting in wars, obviously. They were running dry cleaners and car washes, and they had to have other jobs to survive.
Yeah, selling lots of insurance.
Yeah, they were selling cars. They were doing all sorts of stuff just to get by. Now, Jayson Tatum is expected to make around $71 million come 2029, 2030, which will make him the first ever $70 million player in league history. As of now, again, based on this 5-year Supermax deal he signed with the Celtics.
To me,
but that poses a really
wild.
good question.
It does pose the question of, first of all, before we get into what would shock your old family members the most about society in 2024, I want to take you through the history of NBA contracts.
Let's do it.
Real quick. Let's go back to, before we were born. Just to give some perspective, right?
Gonna go back in time.
I'll give you a name. I'll give you a name, and you tell me what you think the contract was.
Don't give me that nonsense, because I wouldn't even know where to start.
Well, that's sort of the fun of it. That's
not the fun of it. It's fun for you because you got the answers right in front of you, trying to put us on the spot.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm like
know.
Trebek.
I wouldn't even know where to. No, you're not. You're like No, you're not. I don't know.
You're Trebunk.
You're Trebunk. Thank you.
No, but you'll. Yeah, he did look arrogant. Rest in peace, because he had the answers. He had the answers in front of him. But it's a fun activity. You're not going to look stupid.
Of course I am. Just go, because I'm not going to know where to start with this.
1960, the highest-paid player was Wilt Chamberlain. The 1959-60 season. What do you think Wilt was making in 59-60?
I honestly
Dad was a little boy.
I have no idea where to start. If Dave Winfield signed the first $1 million contract in the 80s. Wilt Chamberlain in the 60s? I don't know. That's not common knowledge. Let's say he was making $300,000 a year.
All right, well, you know what? I'm glad you said that, because there's no wrong answer, because this will just show you the perspective as to why it's like, what are they making now? Wilt Chamberlain in 1959-60 made $30,000 a year.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Now I'm going Wilt Chamberlain, the biggest name in the game. 59 sounds a lot further back. I thought it was like a 1960 deal. Not that makes a huge difference, but it doesn't sound like 50-something.
Don't worry. I'll get in the DeLorean. Let's move. Let's go to the 1960s. In the 60s, Wilt was still the highest paid player. He signed a 5-year deal to take him throughout the 60s for $65,000 a year. And then the big deal was in 1966 when Bill Russell signed a deal for $100,000.
Man, yeah. See, that's ridiculous. No wonder our parents or grandparents are having heart attacks hearing this stuff.